and welcome back to Treasury Hub GH. Today we are going to look at a very interesting topic on foreign exchange, which is under the chapter 2, and in terms of subtopic, it is under FX forward. Okay, and what we really want to discuss here is how we can hedge FX forward exposures. I mean, this has been a question that comes recently, and we'll just try to briefly unpack it and help you understand how to approach such questions. So, like we always do, we have a linear graph which shows that in 30 days time we are going to sell, let's say, $2 million versus let's call it cedis. I'm going to use cedis just because we're in Ghana. So basically we are selling $2 million in 30 days time. I don't know, the rate is not really important, but let me just call it 14.5. now this is an exposure because in 30 days time we need to find dollars to be able to sell. And you know that with how FX is shaped, once we sell dollars, obviously we are receiving cedis. So we have two things. Do we wait? So the hedge here can come in a number of ways. I just want to use, okay, so two ways, right? Now the first way to hedge this exposure, mind you, in 30 days time you are selling $2 million versus CD against at 14.5. so the first hedge you would want to do is to say, okay, I'll buy $2 million versus CD val T30, right? So here you have hedged the exposure with an opposite FX forward deal. That's what you've done. So you are selling forward and you would buy forward to close the exposure. So that's one way of hedging the exposure. The other way, right, is to use the spot and swap market to hedge this exposure. What do I mean? With this deal, right, we have two options. We said first you could buy forward to hedge the exposure such that in 30 days time, right, because you've bought $2 million, it comes in and you are able to sell it. And yeah, because you are buying, you are selling CD, you receive CD here, you pay it off here, you are done. Now we can use the spot market and the swap market to sort of also hedge this exposure. Now we'll represent that here. So we call the spot T30, we call it forward. Now the forward deal we are doing is to sell 2 million versus Ghana cedis. So here we are losing dollars, we are receiving GHS. Now if you want to use the second method, after executing this deal, the first thing you have to do is to hedge the currency exposure, right? So if you are selling in the future, the first thing you do in the spot market to hedge the currency exposure, do the reverse of forward deal. So in this example, if we are selling $2 million, what we need to do is to buy $2 million versus CD via spot. We buy it today. So what we have done is the hedge. Today we have bought USD and surely we will be paying CD out. So you see a number of questions that would ask you, how would you hedge the currency exposure? Catch word is currency exposure in an FX forward deal. The only way to hedge the currency exposure is to do the exact opposite, the reverse of the forward deal. So if you are selling forward, today you buy. If you are buying forward, today you sell, to hedge the currency exposure. But look at one thing. In 30 days time, you will be selling, but you've bought the flows today. The question here is, we don't need the flows today, right? And you will be killing cash if you let this dollars just sit idle. The other side too is this CD you are paying out. You don't even have CDs now. You would only be receiving CDs in 30 days time. And that is where you would have to utilize the swap market to move the spot transaction into the future. So the swap market will pull this deal into the future to help you hedge it in the future. And that's where we'll use the FX swap. It's simple. The FX swap is the same as money market deal. What do I mean by this? Now, so the next thing is use the FX swap slash money market. Let me just write it in full. To move spot deal into forward. Or what you are using the swap to do is you trying to hedge the interest rate exposure. And I hope this makes sense to you, because you remember our pricing of a forward. Mind you, we say a forward has a spot leg and an interest rate differential. Okay, so a bit of recap. So a bit of recap of what a forward is. We said a forward, to price a forward, you need spot and interest rate differential. And that is why in hedging the exposure, you first have to close the spot leg using the spot market, and you close the interest rate differential using the FX swap or money market. Right, that's a bit of recap. So back to our FX swap. Now what we have to do now is, let me still draw a line. Okay, so here we are selling USD 2 million, getting CD here, and we've done the spot deal by buying 2 million and selling CD. Now we have to use an FX swap to move this into the future. So with the 2 million that has been received, With a swap, we all know what a swap is, where you do a deal or you exchange one currency for the other first leg and you'd reverse it in the second leg. So using the swap, what we can do is, so via FX swap, let me just put here. So the first leg, that's the spot leg. We sell, because we don't need this 2 million today. We sell or lend the 2 million we have bought in the spot market. Now, as we do that, we have gone to sell CD here, but we don't have that CD, right? So we need to borrow, or we can say buy the Ghana cedis, still in the first leg. Because mind you, with what you've done in this leg, you have received dollars. You don't need the dollars today, so you're going to lend it for the 30 days. Now this CD, you doing the spot deal, you sold CD, but you don't have the CD, so you have to borrow or buy the CD also for 30 days. And you borrowing the CD helps you to sell it out in the spot leg. Now, these transactions will mature in 30 days time. So for the second leg of the swap, when it gets here, now you have sold or lent $2 million, right? Lent will be the proper word. So it means that in 30 days time, you will be receiving, to the second leg, in 30 days time. So in 30 days, we receive $2 million, so obviously plus interest, right? And then this money we've borrowed, we pay Ghana cedis. So if we have a look at what is happening in the far leg, we are going to receive 2 million, and we would use that to offset our existing forward contract. We are going to receive per that forward contract cedis, which would also use to pay out this guy. So in terms of cash flows, it is perfectly hedged. Here has been perfectly hedged with this. This has been perfectly hedged with this. And that is how you hedge FX forward exposures. So if you want to break it down, there are three broad ways, right? The first one is to just do a forward deal. So with a forward deal, there's no big issue. You are buying $3 million in 30 days time. Okay, then you also look for somebody to sell $3 million in 30 days time, such that the exposure is hedged. Let me just write it. So this is first leg. Then we know that because it's a swap, this deal would be reversed in future. So in future, this is how the deal is going to look like. The amount we've borrowed, we would have to pay it out, and the amount we've placed, we will be receiving it in 30 days time. So we've used the FX swap to pull this spot deal into the future. Now the residual cash flows are here. Okay, and this is where our hedge is about to happen. Now in 30 days time, we are going to receive $2 million. In 30 days time, we are going to pay $2 million via an FX swap. So there's a hedge here. In 30 days time, you're going to receive CDs in an FX swap. In 30 days time, you're going to pay CDs in a forward contract. And this is a perfect hedge. Thank you very much for listening.